We all see these old suitcases in thrift stores and in garage sales, and sometimes you think, whatever could be done with them, they look kind of outdated or hopeless looking, but that's what I'll be working on today, is repurposing a few of them. And the first one I plan to turn into a fairy garden. Of all the gardening I've ever done, I've never dabbled in a fairy garden, so I'm kind of excited about it. I've always wanted to do it, just never got around to it. So I want to head outside. I'm actually ready to head outside and gather some things that I think I might need. And we're actually forecasted to have some severe storms this afternoon, so I want to do that before it rains some more. We've really gotten a lot of rain. Our streams are rushing, and our pond actually overflowed just a bit for us today. And yeah, the creek everything looks really muddy, but it's a nice sound to listen to. Like, I like to hear the flowing water. So basically, I'm just gathering, some moss and small plants, things that will be fitting to my little fairy garden. I'll show you some of the rushing streams we have and how the pond looks. The overflows can barely handle everything. We've just gotten a lot of rain here in Ohio. So here is what I gathered so far. I have this piece of wood that I plan to cut up and use for stepping stones, some mossy rocks, and I gathered some dandelion greens. I plan to make this for supper. And in case you want to know more about it, I had done a video last year around this time on how I go about to make dandelion gravy. I know that has nothing to do with the fairy garden, but I was out here anyway, thought I'd collect it. And here I have some moss. And here, this greenery is partridge berry vine, it's called. It's so pretty. It grows in the wild. I thought it would look cute amongst the fairy garden. Some more twigs. And here I have some spring beauties. I thought these would make little shrubs for my setting. And here are a few logs that I plan to use, possibly. And I found this little plastic. It looks like the top of an ice cream cone. And I want to ask Marlene, I found it in the woods. And I almost feel like this is something we used to play with as little girls. Like, we used to have little plastic ice cream cones, and there was candy inside. Pretty sure it might be that. Not sure. We had a really heavy rain. I don't know, did it wash by somewhere? But I don't think it's something the boys used to play with. I feel like it's something we used to have. So I'll have to see what Marlene says. I decided to visit a greenhouse to get a few of my little plants and maybe even a few decorations for my fairy garden, and ended up going to Mary's Flower Patch. I've talked about them before on here, and if you're local or in the area, make sure to check them out. They have an amazing greenhouse. They have lots of different kind of unique plants, I think, and everything always looks really healthy. I'll have their address down below in the description box in case you need it. Pretty sure you won't be disappointed. They even have a new section here where they have some old things. Again, just lots of unique products. The suitcase would of course be displayed with the lid open, so I want it to look, pretty inside. And I'm just eyeballing here to see if these transfers would look good, and I think they would. I'm going to go ahead and paint the inside white and then apply the transfers. And these are from Patterson Art Studio. I've talked about them before on here. Check out their Etsy shop if you're at all into creating and into this sort of thing. They have all kinds of different products. This is my favorite paintbrush to use when painting. It's the perfect size, the perfect slant, and I'm happy to say we have them available on the Etsy shop, all complete with a White Cottage Company logo engraved on the handle. So I want this little fairy garden displayed on a stand, like I don't want to just set it on the floor. And I plan to have it on the porch this summer, and I thought it would be nice to already have a little stand, planned out for it. And I have this thrift store find that I plan to paint. I plan to line this suitcase with a garbage bag to protect it. And here I'm using my handy little stapler to fasten the plastic. I'm just using regular potting soil for this. Again, this is something new for me, but I did quickly Google it just to make sure that is what people use for fairy gardens, and it sounded like it should work. I'm going to start out by making a little twig arbor, and I plan to make it similar to what I made a couple years ago in real life. I had made one for my herb garden, and I'll just do this kind of the same way in a mini form. I lost my pruners, so I'm going with these scissors that aren't the sharpest, but I think it'll work. As I'm waiting for my glue to cure, I'm going to go ahead and cut out my little wooden stepping stones. So this is what is happening today, April 4th. Not cool. Poor tulips. I ended up making a bench out of grapevines and twigs, and I'm not really planning on adding a house in this setting. I debated, but I didn't really have one on hand that was the correct proportion. I could always later on, get one if I come across one, but in a way I just kind of wanted the woodland, just out in a secret garden type of look with, moss and greenery. And as I started creating this, I thought how neat that would be to be little and actually be able to walk through it. So now comes the fun part of arranging the little garden. And here I have all of my items that I plan to use. Not sure if I'm going to use everything, but it's a start at least. Maybe I'll need some more. I ended up not using the Spring Beauties. I put them out in the woods again. I just thought they got a little bit leggy as they sat around for a day, and I knew they probably wouldn't last that long. I'd have to replace them anyway, so I'll just go with some of the other little plants that I have. I know this old bird bath has nothing to do with today's video, but I thought I'd show you what I plan to do with it, being that I got it at Mary's Flower Patch. But I just plan to glue this little bird on the side, and I can't wait to display it on the front porch. You'll probably see it coming up soon here in a future video. The next suitcase is one that I had worked on a couple years ago. I had painted it and then put a decal on it, had it inside our front door kind of as a welcome sign on the top of the cupboard. I'm planning on keeping this one for myself and use it as additional storage. Sometimes I just feel I don't have enough room for things, and I thought if I could make it pretty and have it, laying somewhere and actually being useful, that's always a bonus. A lot of these liners in these old suitcases really have a nasty smell. This one isn't too bad, but being that I want to use the inside, I think I'll remove it and either paint the inside or line it with something. I'm actually liking the chippy look of the outside. I think it naturally kind of wore this way, and I plan to add a decor transfer, but I don't think I'll give it a fresh coat of paint or anything, being that I like the look that it is. Here I'm applying a clear coat over my transfer just to protect it. I decided for now I'm going to store some of my hard drives and things I use for, video editing and filming in here. Possibly have the suitcase right here on the coffee table. I want to see how it works here, and if I don't like it, I can always move it. The next suitcase I plan to paint a pink, light pink color and put legs on it and actually use it as a little end table. I got these wooden legs off of Amazon for a pretty good price, and I'll link them down below in case you're looking for something like this. Always handy to have things like this around if you enjoy working on projects. As you can see, the bottom of the suitcase has a thinner coat of paint. I ran out of paint and I thought, well, it's the bottom, you don't really see it. I want to have some white grain sack stripes on the top of this piece. Here I'm using masking tape to create my lines, and I should probably measure precisely, but I'm really just eyeballing it. That can work too. I didn't get around to doing anything with the inside of this case, and it could totally be done. That way it could even be used. Even if the piece is a stand, it would be a handy place to, store things. But the inside smelled kind of bad, and I kind of ran out of time when I was filming this. But again, it totally could be done, and I can always do it in the future if I decide to. Hopefully this video motivated you to think twice before getting rid of old suitcases. There's so much that can be done with them. I, of course, only covered a few ideas here in this video, but there's many others out there. So much fun. I don't have any new products to share with you, but I do have a revised product I have to show you. This is probably one of my favorite things right now on our shop. But we have had this 10 Commandments sign for a while, but we've always just used vinyl decals for the words. And recently we decided we're going to see if we can actually engrave the letters on here. And sure enough, it worked perfectly using my XTOOL S1 engraver. First I thought it might be too big to fit in, but it fit in perfectly and it did such an amazing job. And of course, using vinyl decals, you know, works too, but there's a lot of weeding involved. And I love the color combination so much better with the stained, you know, top and bottom. It kind of matches the words. I think they turned out beautiful. And I, of course, love the idea of getting these into people's hands so they can display them in their homes. It's such a good reminder to have it hanging on your wall, or for me it is just a reminder of how I want to strive to be. And I am planning on slowly adding some products to our website. So far, we just have those cute little crocheted animals. The lady that makes these does an amazing job with them. They're all handmade. And in case you missed the video, I had shared where we put some product in the Walnut Creek Antique Mall. I get asked this a lot if I have my Etsy shop products, you know, locally here somewhere, because a lot of people come to our area. And in case you're new here, we live in Holmes County, Ohio. It's one of the largest Amish settlements, and that brings lots of tourists to our area. And for a while, I've kind of been searching for a place to, you know, have some product. At one point, I had some soap stocked at a store called Addie's. I don't anymore. And this is kind of what worked out. They're in the antique mall. I just love the idea that people are able to go in there, you know, buy something and not have to pay for shipping. And then, of course, also for, you know, local people, it's just convenient for someone to just stop in there versus, you know, trying to place an order through Etsy. So make sure to check out the Walnut Creek Antique Mall if you're in the area. They have lots of other really neat things in that mall. In fact, that's one of my favorite antique malls in our area. But enough on that. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye.